See, here's what Donald Trump's trying to do. He's trying to make it so that you hate them with no real concrete reason. And so you support war efforts. So then the military industrial complex will make a shit ton of money by sending our young people abroad to destroy brown people. And that money goes to the people at the top. And by the top, I mean the top of General Dynamics, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, and all those other companies. And then we don't see one red cent. It doesn't happen for any of us working Americans. America First is a facade. They do not stand for America First. They're for billionaires first. It's not even Israel first. Israel is just a tool. It's for the billionaires first. Even billionaires that aren't even American. That's what it's for. Let's let the windbag continue.
For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate.
Hang on, wait. Okay, so if they're seeing death to America, if they are, why would they say it? In the words of many parents across this country, when their kid gets in trouble, what do you do? Donald Trump has been crashing out over the weekend, and let me tell you something. MAGA done turned on him, and now they're trying to make excuses for him, and now there is a whole lot of happening going on right now. If you guys want to see initially what has been happening, you guys go into RBN. You guys can see the initial stream that Nick, Zoya, and Rome, and then I came in a little bit late about the United States actually doing a strike on Iran. The United States targeted nuclear facilities in Iran because the United States somehow thinks that Iran's trying to build a nuclear weapon, even though the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, actually said a few months ago that they weren't actually doing it. And then Tulsi Gabbard decided to turn around and renege on it. And guess what? Tulsi just made herself look like a damn fool. So that happened. And so this whole issue, this whole dumpster fire that has been happening really is just been quite the issue. There's a lot to go over. And there have been talks of ceasefires. There have been talks of no ceasefire. Sometimes you don't even know where to begin. But first, I want to start off with, look, let's get into this. So let's start. All right. So shout out to my sister from another Mr. Sabby Sabs for this one. she encapsulates this so very well. She said, Trump bombed Iran. MAGA, come get your dude. You voted against Nikki Haley and for Trump, but you still got Nikki Haley. Darling Nikki. All right, so Donald Trump says we have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on one primary site, Fordo. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. This is not another military. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace? Thank you for your attention to this matter. Wait. Beep, back up the motherfucking truck. Let me tell you something. Hang on. How are you going to bomb a sovereign country, their facilities, which they are trying to have nuclear power, not nuclear weapons? Anyway, how are you going to bomb their facilities and then say, oh, but we want peace? That's like throwing the first punch. But, oh, wait, we can't fight. We need peace. Dude, you threw the first punch. No wonder where Israel gets it from. You threw the first punch, and then you're like, oh, we want peace. Why? Because you're afraid you're going to get socked in the jaw? Oh. Does the United States really want that smoke? I'm telling you. It's like they're messing up again. And this is just, it's continuing this crazy notion that Iran is trying to do whatever it can to destroy these United States. And then we have this Bond villain named Benjamin Netanyahu that comes in and claps like a ugly ass seal for Donald Trump. Let's get into this.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do. History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace. And tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength. President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
Look, if I wanted to see that much fellatio, I'll watch OnlyFans. Dear God, are you kidding me right now? This Benjamin Netanyahu is the worst. This he's not even a man, he's a monster, right? Talking about, thank you to the United States, right? And then shout out to Richard Medhurst, because Richard Medhurst, he's on it, because he brought up a really good point, right? Let me share this with y'all. Richard Medhurst says, remember Trump saying just yesterday that he was going to think on what to do for 2 weeks? One of many examples how the Americans lie and use diplomacy or detente as a tool to deceive, so their acts of violence are more effective. Yeah, because here's the thing. Donald Trump was like, oh yeah, they got 2 weeks. They're going to do 2 weeks, and then we're going to decide what to do. And then next thing you know, no, we're going to hit him. His lies are as bad as his comb over. Dear God. This is who the United States is, man. And then Donald Trump decides to just let it out. Let's take a look. This is from the White House. He says, we have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and oh yeah, I just read that. But they even tweeted this from the White House. He posted it on Truth Social. Apparently, that's where he does his foreign policy. He talks about it on Truth Social first, and then, well, the White House follows afterwards. And then it gets to the point where a lot of people who were supported to Donald Trump were calling him out, and rightfully so. Here's Candace Owens saying a full payload of bombs, end quote, followed by now it's the time for peace. Utterly deranged. If we had raised the $100 million Adelson gave him on GoFundMe, maybe he would have kept his promises. Guess we'll never know. And then it's like, okay, so you see what we see. Candace sees what we see. People like Tucker Carlson see what we see. At least we thought so. They were calling him out all weekend. And we were just like, yes, now it's time for everybody to start going up against the duopoly. But of course, some people, they shift and they change things a little bit, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But here's the crew coming to the mic.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
He called Iran the bully of the Middle East. Well, ain't this the chamber pot calling the toilet white? The United States, just like Israel, for them, every accusation is a confession. Just ask the Middle Eastern countries, ask Yemen, ask Lebanon, ask Syria, ask Iraq, ask Afghanistan, ask Kuwait, ask all these different countries about the United States and who they think they are. And you're calling Iran a bully when they're literally standing up for the Palestinians who civilians are being destroyed by the hundreds of thousands now. And by the way, Israel hasn't stopped murdering Palestinians in Gaza. There's still apartheid happening in the West Bank, and they're still targeting and killing Palestinians in the West Bank, where Hamas doesn't even exist. And yeah, he wants to call Iran the bully of the Middle East. See, here's what Donald Trump's trying to do. He's trying to make it so that you hate them with no real concrete reason, And so you support war efforts. So then the military industrial complex will make a shit ton of money by sending our young people abroad to destroy brown people. And that money goes to the people at the top. And by the top, I mean the top of General Dynamics, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, and all those other companies. And then we don't see one red cent. It doesn't happen for any of us working Americans. America First is a facade. They do not stand for America First. They're for billionaires first. It's not even Israel first. Israel is just a tool. It's for the billionaires first. Even billionaires that aren't even American. That's what it's for. Let's let the windbag continue.
For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate.
Hang on, wait a minute. Okay, so if they're seeing death to America, if they are, why would they say it? In the words of many parents across this country, when their kid gets in trouble, what do you do? Let's go back to 1953. Can we go back there? Or can we go a little bit more recent to the Iran-Contra issue? Or can we go to the dealings that our country has had with countries like Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan within the last 20 to 25 years? Can we go back on that and see how they were treated? Iran has been on the precipice of having a nuclear weapon since 1995. When the Bond villain himself, Benjamin Netanyahu, has been saying it ever since 1995. Oh, well, Iran, they have a nuclear weapon. They're within 2 weeks of having a nuclear weapon. Then you fast forward to 2001. Iran is 2 weeks, it's just weeks away from having a nuclear weapon. Then you fast forward a couple more years. Iran's just a couple of weeks away from having a nuclear weapon. Then a couple of years later, Iran is very, very close. They're very, very close. I'm just telling you, they're close to having a nuclear weapon. Why don't you guys believe me? And then the United States, who is the government, is like, oh, honey, we believe you. We're going to go after Iran. Meanwhile, the rest of us are looking at Bibi Netanyahu like, didn't you say that the last 10 times over the last 20 years? Where is it? That's like somebody pulling trying to rob you and goes, I have a gun in my pocket. If you don't give me what you got, then I'm gonna pull it out and shoot you. I'm like, you got a gun? Let me see. No, come on, show me. Let me see. Weapons of mass destruction, my ass. I'm telling you right now, these people are deranged, warmongering monsters. We're literally living in a world ran by supervillains. They're not even super though. They're just villains. Jesus Christ, I'm telling you, this country is cooked.
In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen.
Qasem Soleimani was a beloved general in Iran, and he was fighting ISIS. You know, the group that was actually created by the United States. Oh no, did I just say that out loud? Yes, I did. Qasem Soleimani was actually fighting ISIS, and you murdered him. You killed him. You killed somebody that was fighting terrorists. But Donald Trump didn't start any new wars. He damn sure didn't end none either. Anywho.
It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say, we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So that is the remarks from the Trump regime. So let's continue on. When the United States did this, they thought that they could win in a war, possibly even a protracted war with Iran. But we all know that that is not possible. In fact, there's a professor that actually talks about the logistics and how the United States would not be able to win a war with Iran. Really, it is basically suicide. It's a suicide mission if the United States actually does that. And I shouldn't use that word, but I wanted to convey the heaviness of how ridiculous it would be to go after Iran. Let's get here. So it says U.S. can't win a war in Iran, for one, because it's all effing mountains. Let's get into it.
Now I want to ask you this question. At this point, I think the war has been decided. Who has won the war? America has established air supremacy. It controls the skies. U.S. Navy controls the seas. You have 100,000 U.S. troops in country ready to strike Tehran. The war has been decided. Who has won the war? Obviously, this is a trick question. Obviously, Iran has won the war. Why? Why? What's the problem with this plan? Okay, this is typical American doctrine, shock and awe. This is how they fight wars. But there's a problem with this plan. What is it? Okay, let's go back to traditional military doctrine, okay? In traditional military doctrine, you have three principles, right? Mass forces, avoid encirclement, protect supply lines, okay? These are three things you must absolutely obey if you're going to war, okay? So using traditional military doctrine, explain to me why the United States has lost the war right now. Exactly. First of all, they're encircled, okay? You know why? Because Iran are all mountains. It's a fortress, okay? Meaning that to get these troops into the country, you have to airdrop them. right? But guys, once you're in the country, you can't get them out of the country. You understand? Okay, so that's the first problem. They've been encircled, right? What's the second problem? So they failed to mass forces, okay? Iran is a population of 90 million people. You will need at least 3 to 4 million soldiers to even think about conquering the country. They got 100,000 in this country, okay? And as Jack says, you can't move tanks through mountains. They're not designed for mountain warfare. What are you going to do? Okay? So they can't mass forces, and they've been encircled, and what else is a problem? And this is the biggest problem. Exactly. They cannot be resupplied, okay? They have no supply lines. For them to be resupplied, airplanes have to drop ammunition, food, into the country. But again, Iran is all mountains. So it's very easy for Iranians to shoot down the airplanes. Does that make sense? When you pass through mountains, you can't see what's on the ground. A random guy with a rocket launcher can just shoot down the helicopter, okay? Which is what the Afghans did against the Soviets in the Afghanistan war. And that's why the Soviets lost the war.
So the United States would be cooked if they actually went toe-to-toe with Iran. They'd be cooked. And so for all the liberals also that say, well, this is why we should have gotten Kamala Harris because she would have never did anything like this. You might want to pause for a second there because, videos forever.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands. Okay, this attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
So if you have proof that Iran is building a nuclear weapon, would you take military action?
I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals at this moment.
Which foreign country?
So that's a yes, she would take military action against Iran. And also, a lot of times what they'll leave out is like, oh my God, Iran attacked Israel. And it's like Israel attacks first. That happens all the time. Iran counter punches. It's like, fuck around and find out. And that's what Israel has done. So for anybody who says that Kamala Harris would have never done this, baby, I got a diamond encrusted bridge over a active volcano to sell you. Big, beautiful real estate. Big, beautiful real estate. Because she definitely would have. And then the denial happens, right? Let's go here. This is all that's happened over the weekend. So much has happened over the weekend, guys. So much. This happened over the weekend. Here's the denial that somebody that JD Vance has said. So let's listen to this.
Mr. Vice President, thank you for joining us. The big question, is the United States now at war with Iran?
No, we're not at war with Iran, John. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program, and I think the president took this.
Wait, what? Hang on. Let's go back.
War with Iran?
No, we're not at war with Iran, John. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program, and I think.
You mean the operation to build nuclear power plants? So providing energy to their people is a threat to you? Y'all keep saying they're trying to build nuclear missiles And yet they haven't. Netanyahu's been saying that for 30 years and it hasn't happened. And you're trying to tell me that you think that they have nuclear missiles. Meanwhile, your director of national intelligence told you a few months ago that they don't. Tulsi Gabbard told you that they don't. And you're still stuck on that. It's because they really want to go fight Iran. Let me amend my statement. The military industrial complex wants a war with Iran. And so therefore they are getting their cronies, their lapdogs, like Vice President Eyeliner over here, to say, yeah, they have this weapon that we actually can't confirm that they have, so that we can go to war with them. Because if we sell to the American people that they're a threat, the American people will be on board, and then we can actually have this war, and then the military industrial complex can make as much money as they possibly can off the backs and the lives of American citizens. That's what he's saying.
I think the president took decisive action to destroy that program last night. If I could step back a little bit, we have to give an incredible amount of gratitude to the troops who did an amazing thing last night. Think about this, John. They flew thousands of miles away, a 30-hour nonstop flight. They never touched down on the ground, and they dropped a 30,000-pound bomb on a target about the size of a washing machine. No military in the world has the training, the skills, and the equipment to do what these guys did last night. I know the president and I are both very proud of them. And I think what they did was accomplish a very core American national objective.
Hang on. By the way, according to journalist Danny Haifong and many journalists on the ground in Iran, they actually bombed just the entrances of these nuclear facilities, and those facilities have been empty for months, or for a while. They've been empty, and they didn't destroy the inside. They just attacked the entrances. So what really did you do? That's like saying I destroyed the house when I just kicked the door in. JD is a bullshitter. Y'all need to recognize that. If you don't recognize that by now, whatever you're smoking, you must be in La La Land.
Iran cannot have a nuclear weapons program. The president's been very clear about this.
They don't want a nuclear weapons program. They don't want one anyway, even though they actually have every justification to have one. They don't even want one. The Ayatollah was like, yeah, no, we don't want one. Just by through ethics and their moral standing, they do not want one, so they're not going to have one. This is why they haven't had one. Netanyahu's been saying this shit for 30 years. He's been lying through his decrepit teeth every single time. And guess what? Now you guys are like, oh, well, we don't want them to have nuclear weapons. That's like trying to beat somebody up for trying to eat your shrimp when, number one, they don't like shrimp. Number two, they have a shellfish allergy. Like, what? Why are you beating them up for trying to steal something that they don't want? This is the logic of people like Trump and JD Vance and people like Kamala Harris. This is their logic. It don't make no damn sense. But capitalism doesn't make sense. It doesn't. That's the problem. It's really all this is using the blood of American people for money. That's all this is about. This is a salesperson, and they're trying to sell you a war so that you'll go, okay, we won't fight against it. And then guess what? They do the war. Your kids die fighting for the corporations. And then whatever money that they made off of this, they get to run out the back door with the money. And then they give a few, they throw a few bones to people like this salesperson right here. That's what it is.
And thanks to the bravery and competence and skill of our great pilots and everybody who supported this mission, we took a major step forward for that national objective last night.
Mr. Vice.
So that's who JD Vance is. This also happened for all the liberal denialists that would say that the Biden administration would never. Oh, they would never. This says the U.S. and Israel practiced during the Biden administration. Source: the U.S. and Israel had practiced this attack in a military exercise about a year ago. A source in Israel with direct knowledge of the matter confirmed to ABC News. The exercise was unprecedented because it war gamed offensive actions against Iranian nuclear capabilities for the first time, according to the source. This was the first plan under Biden administration, according to the source, who said, but we did not think a year ago that this would happen now. This is from ABC News' Matt Gutman. So, yes, they actually were planning on doing this attack a year ago. See, this is the issue. This is why we talk about how both parties, the Democratic and Republican parties, are united. They have bipartisanship in order to screw us over because one sets up the balls and the other one take a shot and does the break. One sets up the pins and then one takes the bowling ball and rolls it down the lane. This is exactly how the both Republican and Democrat parties work. They are workmates. They work in tandem with each other. That's how they operate. They just don't want you to know that. This is perfect examples. Here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio, aka Little Marco. Little Marco. All right, let's go. Teeny tiny Marco.
Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I think that question being asked.
Wait, Marco. Hold up. Wait in the water. Hang on.
Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I think
it is relevant, Marco. It is relevant. You want to know why? Because that means that if he's not looking for weaponization, that means there's absolutely no reason why you should be bombing nuclear facilities in Iran when they're just trying to have some nuclear power so that they can power their PS5s. So they can power their flat irons. Well, actually, I don't think that most of them probably need flat irons because their hair is kind of straight. But they can they can heat, they can use their washers and dryers. And so you say, that's irrelevant. No, it's relevant. It's relevant. Because if they aren't looking to make a nuclear weapon, why are you there in the first place? That's your boy, MAGA. That's one of your boys. Donald Trump picked him, right?
I think that question being asked on the media, that's an irrelevant question.
No,
They have
that is
everything
the
they need
key
to build a
point in
weapon.
U.S. intelligence assessments. You know
No,
that.
it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
the political
No, I
decision
know,
had
well,
not
I know
been
that better
made.
than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Marco Rubio, he really is little Marco. He's a little boy. He can't even argue right. He can't even come up with a good lie. I know Anthony Blinken was bad, but Marco Rubio, you really take the cake, don't you? Marco Rubio saw Anthony Blinken and was like, ha ha, hold my beer. He's a fucking idiot. God. He was a senator of Florida? Floridians, are you serious?
Case.
But
You don't
I'm
know-
asking
you
you
don't
whether
know
the
what you're
order
talking
was
about.
given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain, 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury?
Because you guys are thinking like megalomaniacs, thinking that they're gonna make it. Look, if I have it, okay, in my cupboard, I got flour, I got cocoa powder, I got eggs, I got milk, I got sugar, I got vanilla extract. I even have a mixer. But does that mean I'm going to make a cake? Because I also have a frying pan in there, right? I also have a baking dish. I also have some veggies and some orzo. And I have some mushrooms. I could be making a frittata. I could be making an omelet. It may not be a cake that I'm making. Just because they got some of the ingredients doesn't make that's exactly what they're making. And yet you are insistent on thinking that they're trying to make a nuclear weapon. Do we look like Boo Boo the Fool to you? Marco, come on, bro.
Why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60%.
That has been confirmed to be false. They actually only have about 3.5% enriched uranium. Where are you getting your intelligence from, Marco?
Enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons, because they can quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. Why do they have a space program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No.
I mean, it was so what if they did? They can't do space exploration? So what if they did? China does. Hey, what? By the way, if Iran is so dangerous for having a nuclear weapon, why aren't you going after North Korea right now? What happened to Libya when you guys talked Gaddafi out of pursuing his nuclear program? What happened to Gaddafi? What happened to Libya? Isn't it now an open air prison, an open air slave market now because of what you guys did? Iran was watching very closely. And they saw, but even still, they still don't want a nuclear weapon. Y'all ain't even trying to go after North Korea. And also, if Israel has a nuke in the region, I mean, wouldn't it be fair that the other countries in the region also have one? I'm not saying that they should be using them because I don't want to die. But the thing is, the problem is, it's like, why is it always rules for thee, but not for me? If the United States wants these countries to get rid of their nukes, then the United States should get rid of its first. and Israel too. Because these other nuclear powers, I don't know of them actually using their nukes on the civilian population, but I do know the United States has. I know the United States is willing to pull the trigger. See the reasoning behind it? They're psychotic.
They're trying to build an ICBM.
No, but that's a question. That's a question. That's a question of intent. And you know, in the intelligence assessment, that it was that Iran wanted to be a threshold state and use this leverage. I'm talking about the public March assessment, and that's why I was asking you if you know something more from March.
But that's also an inaccurate representation of it. That's an accurate representation of it. That's not how intelligence is read. That's not how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Forget about intelligence. What the IAEA knows. They are enriching uranium well beyond anything you need for a civil nuclear program. So why would you enrich uranium at 60% if you don't intend to one day use it to take it to 90 and build a weapon? Why are you?
Look, people are going to get mad at me for this, but so what if they do? So what if they do? Oh, you're afraid that Iran's going to be attacking all these different countries? You mean like what the United States has done? But I don't see anybody saying, well, the United States should get rid of their nuclear weapons. I'm saying the United States should get rid of its nuclear weapons first. Be the example that you wish to see in the world, right? Yeah, United States should get rid of their nukes first. All of them, the entire stockpile. Every single one. Clean out the Department of Energy. Clean it out. By the way, just as people know, the Department of Energy is what oversees the maintenance of our nukes, not the Defense Department. Yeah. That's a little something they don't tell you about. But yes, the United States should be the first. Because if you're the ones that are pushing aggression around the world, or if you're the one that has over 700 military bases around the world with basically missiles and guns pointed at all these other countries, basically holding the world hostage, you should be the one to provide the example by getting rid of your nukes. You're the one who's oppressing the world, so therefore you're the one who has to put your stick down first. But yet they don't want to. So why should Iran do that? Why should North Korea do that? Why should Russia do it? Why should they? How many bases around the world does Iran have? How many bases around the world does North Korea have? How many bases does Russia have around the world? Maybe like what, one? That's right near their borders. United States has over 700. 700. And they're encircled around Iran. Even though Iran is not trying to have a nuclear weapon, they have every right to do so, to protect themselves as a deterrent from Western aggression. They have the right. Iran has the right to defend itself. Marco makes me itch.
Why are you developing ICBMs? Why do you have 8,000 short-range missiles and 2,000 to 3,000 long mid-range missiles that you continue to develop? Why do you do all these things? They have everything they need for a nuclear weapon. They have the delivery mechanisms. They have the enrichment capability. They have the highly enriched uranium that is stored. That's all we need to see.
Right. Well, and
especially in the hands of a regime that's already involved in terrorism and proxies and all kinds of things around. They are the source of all.
Yes, and no one's disputing. No one's.
Oh, that is rich. Remember I said every accusation is confession? How many Iraqis did Iran kill? Versus how many Iraqis did the United States kill? How many Syrians did the United States kill? How many Yemenis did the United States kill? And by proxy, how many Palestinians did the United States kill? I don't hear about Iran doing all that.
No one's disputing that. I'm not doing that here. And they were censured at the IAEA for that enrichment and for violating their non-proliferation agreements. I was simply asking if we had intelligence that there was an order to weaponize, because you said weaponization ambitions.
Well, we have intelligence that they have everything they need to build a nuclear weapon, and that's more than enough.
Okay.
So with that, let's go to, yes, I know this this video is going on a little bit, but I really want to do this. Donald Trump also placed a tweet, well, a post on Truth Social talking about he wants to make Iran great again. So he's using MEGA, make Iran great again, which is complete crazy. Right now, what's going on is that there's a surge in oil prices that's going on right now. CNN just broke news over the weekend that oil prices are going to be surging. So you can thank Donald Trump for that. Oil prices surge in the wake of U.S. strikes in Iran, with U.S. oil futures jumping 3.6% Sunday to about $76.47 per barrel. So you have that as well, because, well, they had to go after them. You know, and then Israel, of course, has continued to attack. They attacked the university, the Shahid Bashinti University in Tehran, which is a public research university. So that was brought to us by The Cradle, as well as this. As well, there's many Israelis that are now trying to flee Israel. It says thousands flee Israel as Western states scramble to extract citizens. So it says as of June 23rd, it says more than 11,000 foreign nationals have been evacuated from Israel as its war on Iran enters its second week, prompting dozens of governments to launch emergency operations under closed airspace and intensifying missile fire. Germany, the UK, Australia, France, and the United States, and several European Union states have mobilized military aircraft, chartered civilian transport, and overland convoys to extract their citizens, many of whom were forced to cross into Jordan, Egypt, or Azerbaijan by bus or on foot before boarding outbound flights. So yes, the Israelis who are not indigenous to the region are going home. They're going home. Because they actually have someplace to go. Unlike the Palestinians. The Palestinians are literally in their home, being murdered to death. Even people like Megyn Kelly are now calling it out. By the way, they're saying that there was supposed to be a ceasefire. There was been reports that there is no ceasefire. In fact, Suleiman Ahmad actually shared this post from the Tehran Times, because apparently they were like, well, we need a ceasefire. It says Tehran Times, and Fars News says there is no ceasefire agreement between Israel and Iran. Iran has not agreed to a ceasefire. Trump is lying again. So this was today. The Tehran Times said that there is no agreement for a ceasefire, right? And so when it comes to the lies that are coming out from the Trump regime, the American regime, you know, it just keeps going. they actually also killed an Iranian scientist named Sadeghi Saber. He was murdered in northern Tehran. You got people like Ali Abnima speaking about what he's seeing on the ground. Says, I'm seeing a couple of rockets in the sky over Jordan. Sirens did not sound, 3 so far. And then he's sharing pictures of rockets in the sky. And this was overnight as well. And Ali Abnima is also from the Electronic Intifada, which is also a great resource, by the way. And so a ceasefire, an apparent ceasefire was violated. And this ceasefire that was violated by Israel, really, because, you know, Israel doesn't know what a ceasefire is. Just ask, you know, Gaza. Let's share this as well, because the ceasefire that was supposedly have happened didn't happen. Justin Trump, Israel is not going to attack Iran. Trump said Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home while doing a friendly plane wave to Iran. Nobody will be hurt. The ceasefire is in effect. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. And so that didn't happen. And so then this happened. And this was earlier today. Now, Donald Trump, he's talking about how he's not happy. Well, you shouldn't have intervened the way you did, and you should have condemned and stopped Israel, but you didn't. So this is all on him.
But reports coming from the region suggest that the sides accuse each other for violating the ceasefire. So
I think they both violated it. I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it. So as soon as I get away from you, I'm going to see if I can stop it. Okay? I think it's been completely demolished. I think the reason we're here is because those pilots, those B-2 pilots, did an unbelievable job. And, you know, the fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and demean. Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there? Absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine. They hit late in the evening. It was dark with no moon, and they hit that target with every one of those things, and that place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks, and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSDNC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers. You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people. And the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed. MSDNC, a guy named Brian Roberts, he heads it. He's a disgrace. He's a weak, pathetic disgrace.
What the hell does CNN? God, this guy is just. Who gives a shit? What's going on in the Middle East, dude? Stay off of CNN.
Violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to the peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
So basically, they don't know what the hell they're doing. I know what Iran's doing. Iran is like, you're not going to keep doing this against us. You're not going to keep, messing with us. And so Trump is mad about that. Let me share this as well, because look, some people who are part of MAGA are now feeling played by Donald Trump, namely people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's take a look here. Marjorie Taylor Greene says, I spent millions of my own money and traveled the entire country campaigning for President Trump and his MAGA agenda and his promises. And Trump's MAGA agenda included these key promises: no more foreign wars, no more regime change, world peace. And this is what the people voted for. Only 6 months in, and we are back into foreign wars, regime change, and World War III. It feels like a complete bait and switch to please the neocons, warmongers, and military-industrial complex contracts and neocon TV personalities that MAGA hates and who were never Trumpers. After the bombs were dropped, we were told complete success and Iran's nuclear capabilities were totally wiped out. Then it quickly turned into Iran's nuclear facilities partially damaged. And now we don't know where their enriched uranium is. Let's be very clear. My children are 22, 25, and 27. Damn, she's done some hard living. Anyway, I will literally fight anyone for their future. And their future and their entire generation's future must be free of America's last foreign wars that provoked terrorist attacks on our homeland, military drafts, and nuclear war. I am fighting for them to have a future where they can afford to buy a home, afford insurance, invest retirement, enjoy life, retain their God-given freedoms, afford to raise a free family under their Christian faith. What about other faiths? Not be in debt, safety and security, and not have our own taxpayer-funded government destroy it all. Contrary to brainwashed Democrat boomers think about and protest about, Trump is not a king, MAGA is not a cult, and I can and do have my own opinion. Here's the thing, though. Here's the problem. Y'all believed him. Y'all believed him when he said all these things. Y'all fell for it. Remember what I talked about with Dave Smith, how he fell for it? Y'all fell for it too. See, when we talk about leaving the duopoly, leaving both parties, we meant it. But you guys were looking for a savior, just like the Democrats were looking for a savior. And here you go. You got your savior. Your savior so bad that now he's willing to risk your kids' lives to fight for a supremacist state abroad. Congratulations. You played yourself. See, that's the problem. And the thing is, it's like whenever we try to tell people this, they're like, nuh-uh. Like I bet you there's people in my chat some people in my chat right now who voted for Trump. They're like, nuh-uh. Look, here. Donald Trump is so stupid. This dude is look, this nigga unhinged. Let me tell you something right now. Let me show you. All right. Owen Jones shared this. This is hilarious. Look, Donald Trump is like Israel's like a cat, and Donald Trump is like a cat owner. Donald Trump, he said, hang on. Okay. He said, Israel, do not drop those bombs. If you do, it is a major violation. Bring your pilots home now. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Now, I want you to think to yourself, picture a blue and white cat that's on the counter, and he takes his paw and he starts pushing the glass, inching it off of the counter. Israel, don't you push that off the counter. Israel, no, Israel. And they're just like, now what, motherfucker? This is basically what's going on. Donald Trump does not have the balls to stand up to Israel. I'm saying it like I see it. He ain't got the balls, the guts, the gonads, the cojones. He ain't got them. Trump is a wuss. He does not have the intestinal fortitude to stand up to Israel because his bosses don't tell him to. His bosses are the big people at the top, like the central bankers and all that. He doesn't have the guts to stand up to his bosses. They grabbed him by the He says it because that's what his bosses do to him. Trump does not have the guts to do it. He never did. He's a salesperson. He's a con man. He's a neo-con man. And this is exactly what we were talking about. And people talk about, oh, well, you know, Donald Trump is going to fight for us. Yeah, I believe that. Donald Trump is going to fight for us just as much as Kamala Harris was. He even talked about how he thinks regime change makes chaos. And this is what some of the commentators are saying. Some of the commentators are unhinged as hell as well. Let's get into this. These people are crazy.
Used this past weekend in a precision perfection way. It's illegal, unconstitutional. It is not illegal. Of course, in a violation of international the United law. States. You can't violate national sovereignty of a country. Why? Why? We do it all the time. I know, because America violates international law. Who's going to stop us? Decades.
Who's going to stop us? That's the mindset of imperialists. That's the mindset of colonizers. Who's going to stop us? This is why we talk about that we have to change this empire from the inside. That's why we have to do it. Who's going to stop us? Well, see, that's the issue. A lot of people don't want to talk about, man. What are we going to do? We have to do it. Pull up your sleeves, baby. We got to stop this empire. We got to stop it. We do it all the time. Who's going to stop us? And by the way, because of the ceasefire, at least for now, Iranians are celebrating. Here we go. Just in Israel wanted Iranians to revolt against their government. Instead, the Iranians are now celebrating victory over Israel.
Marcia, we are in Tehran's Enqilab Square. Well, this has been the vantage point for all of the gatherings in support of
the leader of Iran's Islamic Revolution over the past days. You've seen immense crowds gathering in this venue, and today a jubilant crowd has gathered. The entire square is full of people, residents of the Iranian capital, Tehran, that have come out not just to express their joy at the victory of the Islamic Republic of Iran against the Israeli regime, but also to express their support for leader of Iran's Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei. Now, this is probably even more important than the victory of Iran's Islamic Revolution, because you see people from all walks of life, Marzieh, who are here, and they are all chanting the same slogan, that our leader is Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei. Interestingly, they are also drawing parallel to Imam Ali, the first Shia Imam, who also, whose name was also Ali, and they are saying we are not like the people of the city of Kufa who left him alone. We will stand right behind our leader, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei. This has been the most prominent slogan today, other than, of course, the usual chants of death to America and death to Israel, which have always been there. And today, those chants are even stronger than ever after the unlawful and illegal aggression against the Islamic Republic of Iran. You can see behind me that there are thousands of people holding the flag of the Islamic Republic of Iran, waving the flags of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and also the flags of Hezbollah, as a sign that the resistance front is alive and Iran will continue to support the resistance.
So that's what the Iranians are doing right now. Instead of going against their government, they're saying, great job. You managed to stop Israel. And so this is from Professor Morandi. I want to share this as well, because this is him on the ground. Because as you guys know, Professor Morandi lives in Tehran. This is video directly from him on the ground, what's going on in Tehran. So as we can see here, they are in celebratory mood. But the thing is, like, ultimately, it's because they don't want a protracted war either. The problem is that the United States and Israel will stop at nothing to make excuses, to make the world think that they have something that they don't have, in order for them to be able to make as much money by having this heightened aggression against the Iranians, when the Iranians are just trying to power their homes and businesses. But instead, because they dare to try to have that, then it is a bad thing, right? And the United States and the West really is trying to stop at nothing to stop them from really just existing, unless the United States actually has control over the Iranian government, which the United States has always had the intention of doing. Just go back to 1953 when they overthrew the democratically elected leader Mohammad Mossadegh and replaced him with the Shah. And so this is exactly what the United States is doing. They always do the same gag twice, 3 times, 4 times, and because that's how they operate. And so that's one of the things, one of the reasons why it's so important for us to resist, and try to build dual power, do mutual aid whenever we can, because this government will stop at nothing until it puts basically every single government and every single person under its yoke, so that we become even more subservient really a slave class to the corporate dictators, to the billionaire owners, to the parasite class. And so this is why it's important for us to not listen to the rhetoric that's coming out of them, out of the regimes of the United States and Israel, because ultimately it's about manufacturing our consent so that they will destroy other people just for a quick buck. That's ultimately what it's about. It's about power and control. We need to resist this quest, this thirst for power and control across our nations so that we can be able to have a more peaceful, equitable world that honors the sovereignty and self-determination of other nations. And so I just say, as these developments continue, I'll try to stay on top of these things for you guys, but please make sure to, support independent media. Independent media is trying to bring you, the truth of what's really going on the ground, because ultimately we can't, we can't allow this to continue. These lies that are told to continue, because the thing is that they're using these lies to sacrifice our lives for the sake of supremacy and capitalism and imperialism. And so this is one of the reasons why it's important that we take control of our government and create a real democracy that seeks not just peace, but liberation. Thank you so very much for watching my channel, and I deeply appreciate it from the top and bottom of my heart. If you wish to support the channel further, so I can keep bringing you content that is educational and informative, you can become a patron on patreon.com/Jaybefaunt. You can find that link in the pinned comment or in the description below. No matter what you give, you'll be supporting independent media and education that helps make the world better. Thank you so much, and you can watch more of my content here. Mwah. Forehead kisses, and have a beautiful day.